All right, Kevin, this is for Friday. What is it, March 22nd? I'm going to jump around a little bit here. There's a concept here. We settled, well, let's put it this way. We're likely to settle the week above this formation at 28.34 even. If you look at the newsletter, you'll see the weekly chart comes right in at the same level. So if we settle unchanged on the day or even a little lower, but unchanged to higher today, this is a decent buy signal that I would expect once again to play out next several weeks, 29.47, next several months into the upper 3,000 area. And so there's that. We could look at calls if we want. I can certainly be, convinced of that. But I also want to do sort of the inverse and take a look at the 10-year, which I'm actually, because we're so close to this, we close below this. This is the daily chart once again. Same formation as on the weekly chart. It's a daily continuation chart. And so I'll open it back up again. And this formation Friday is at 123. 13.7. There's no such number, so it'd be 13.5. If we settled above 13.5 tomorrow, and I do believe the weekly chart itself is at the same location. Take a look down here. This is channel 1, 2. Channel 1, 2 is 123, 13.7, 13.8. If we settle at 123.14 or higher, we technically have a buy signal. But anything inside or lower, we're just testing resistance. I think it's worth taking a look at, even though we don't have a sell signal and we may get some consolidation for a while, I think it is a play that as long as we get some decent sell signals on the way down, the next one would be, sort of right in here. I'm going to do the extreme version of this. This is a daily chart, so sometime later next week we could get down here. So that settling below this would be the next, decent follow through. There's a band here, blah, blah, blah. So there's that. So I think buying out of the money puts, at the money puts, whatever the case might be, I don't have a problem buying it. I do think that if this market does begin to run away to the upside, and I don't see that happening with the stock market the way it is right now. We're setting up for a nice buy signal into later April. So this market could quite easily continue south, and I think buying puts is good, and that's all I'm going to say about it. Take a real quick look at wheat. By the way, I am being redundant. Not that I have a problem spending the time doing the analysis on these markets, but I've already recorded audio. There's lots of graphics. There's the newsletters for a lot of the pre-existing letters. When we're looking at a trade, I'll definitely do it on the video, but I think I'm going to start well, we'll see. Anyway, this is, let's take a look at this. This is what you were mentioning today as a possibility of selling that call. 472 and 3/4 today. I don't know. I like the way this thing is creeping up. We settled at 65 even. It's above this high area from, when we came down, we had a kind of little double top there for a day, and then we continued south. We're now back above that. It actually held the high end for a day a few days ago, 64. I think we're going to see at least this number, but I don't know. If you want to sell one of these to cover the losses on the cattle, it certainly would, I believe, at this point in time. But I think it's worth waiting to see if we'll get up in here at some point next week. Anyway, there's that. There's nothing new here with wheat. You'll see on the newsletter itself support level. Here it is. And we've got one here. Shit, hold on. This is this channel bottom here. Yeah, 454 and 1/4 is in the newsletter as well. So if we close below this, I'm all for just getting out of those calls and taking our profits, which we should still have, even if we sell it at 449 or 450, whatever the case might be. But until then, this is a nice, mellow. I think odds favor upward continuation to this speed line. But this trend line, yeah, exactly. I think I don't have a strong opinion. If you want to unload that call, I'd be more than happy to do that. Let's take a quick look at soybeans. we did settle. It was interesting, that close. I was watching it, and we bought it at 10.5, and it got down to that 9 3/4, which was the support level. I'm like, oh boy, here we go. Bought him at 10.5, closes at 7.5, and then we're down 20 cents the next morning. But no, that didn't happen. So we settled just above it. Tomorrow we've got support at 908 1/4, and it would be nice to see us open above that level. Then we're looking for, obviously, over the next few weeks, this thing. There are some resistance levels. We got some trend lines here. I believe this is that 921 3/4, 921 1/4 tomorrow. That's a session containment level. I think this is actually reachable tomorrow on a Friday and so forth. But it's nothing significant. We get a settlement above it, I'm happy, because we could actually hit 941 even, perhaps by the end of next week. But if we close back below 908 1/4, that doesn't bode well. And this is where our stop should or was, maybe still is. I can't remember if that was good till canceled or not. 899 half. So that's why I want to be below 899 half on a stop, if as a worst case stop. You and I could certainly, if we're trading tomorrow at 906 or 903 half, below the 908 1/4 level, and there's 15 minutes to go in the day, I think we just bail on this damn thing, just to be safe. It reminds me. I remember, reading the what was it, Market Wizards, and there were a few mentions of, that 90% of your profits are made with 10% of your trades. So these little razor cuts don't really bother me as long as we're still in the game, and we are. And so the cattle. Let's take a look at the cattle, because I think that's the aggravation for the week. We sold and we sold and we stopped and we stopped. Let me take a look at, well, I'm going to pull up the newsletters in this situation, because I think they really do an adequate job of conveying this. Come on. The cloud-based words just is aggravating, because there's like a 5-second delay. So we closed above this, clearly. This is interesting right now, and I'm sure you're on the same page here, because if we take a look at August, we tested that resistance level today. It's so funny. We talked about selling that thing, right? That would have been the play, of course. So we've met an objective in August, and a bit of a mixed bag here. You've got June is above, and August is below. So I told subscribers in the audio portion that if you're itching to go long right now, and you haven't yet, you could now await a settlement above 120.45. That would be a secondary sign of strength, and I think that's the way to play this right now. In other words, I would rather go long cattle in August, perhaps. Flat out futures with a settlement above 120.45. Rather than possibly get chopped up a little bit once again with this, June contract. Oh Jesus, here we are. Anyway, if I'm just looking at the June contract, there's nothing I have but respect for this buy signal. So there's that. Let's corn rally today. We should get up in the come on, here we are. Yeah, if you can imagine, I'll just go back to the chart here. Let's go to corn, May, boom. I'm sure I'll have to redraw these goddamn charts. Oh, this really upsets me. Am I the only one in their entire subscribership who creates channel formations? I sometimes think I am. Everybody's using all this sophisticated crap, all these different studies. If I go, where is that? Studies. They've got this is just a fraction of what's available in their system. And I think most people use these things. I only have a few of them on there, and I don't even use them that much. I have volume as an assortment, and if I want to throw me moving average just for shits and giggles, but I don't really use it anyway. Why am I looking at July corn? I have no idea. So this is the speed line. This is corn. This is our target now. We settled above this formation. So yeah, we got shook out of that call. I'll take full responsibility for that one. That was just, well, whatever. 373.5 today. Support above which that speed line is expected. And you know, we've also got, is it this? Yeah, right in there. Low, mid 380s. That's a good short sale area, by the way. I think there's a good, you know, if we're going to just watch this thing, I think this is a good, it's kind of like that Canadian dollar. So I'm going to jump over there right now while I'm talking. My ADD just kicked in here. Canadian dollar. Come on. All right. So here we are. I'm gonna create a video just for these guys. All right. Reconstructing this crap. Yes, sons of a bitches. Hold on. All right. So today 75.25. The low is 75.10. We're below, you know, we've got this low. So secondary sell signal right now. The market can continue to the bottom of this channel that we tested the top of this week. And so right now, the 22nd, 75.52. That's our buy signal into April. Otherwise, this market remains in a sort of downward, the beginning of a downward wave. And so would I buy it down here? I do believe so. I mean, especially you got this old low here. In the next couple of weeks, this is just going to be a range of support. So there's that. Take a quick look at gold. Okay. Get your ass out of there. Some of these lines just don't stick. It's like the same formations every day. Some of them stick, and some of them just don't reliably. All right. 1302.6, the reliable 1 point increase every day. That's what we have tomorrow. That's the base of support. What do we have here? Jesus, anybody's freaking guess. You know, I don't know what to say about this up here. Look at that. That's a nice channel bottom. So that comes in at 1302.9. So, you know, if we're doing nothing and I'm looking at this thing if we can put on an alert here, if we close below those structures, I'm all for just getting short and staying short into April. Otherwise, this is our support. We'll watch it come down here and then maybe curl back up again. I don't know. But yeah, I think I don't know where to buy this thing up here anymore. Bit of a mystery. We had this old high. We never did settle above this high. I imagine that could be it. 1312.9. That. Oh wait. Oh wait. Oh, we did settle above that high. Sorry. All right. We'll just leave this alone. I'm gonna just forget that speed line and just it's too enticing to even consider it. I think this is it. I say we either buy this and hold or we sell it. We could do both. This is kind of like the live cattle thing, you know. We sold it, and now we're in a position of considering a long entry, I think, especially if August cattle closes above that key area. Let me see here. I'm just trying to go over markets I know we've been watching. I just covered the 10-year. I know all these other currencies are just kind of like crude. Crude's getting close. Crude is closing in. The RBOB is actually in the midst of testing it. So once again, I think we should talk about, do we have a strategy? Will we have a strategy that we just follow through on if the market gets up in this area, you know, like tomorrow? You know, is there a call? I'm sorry. Is there a put that we would buy? Or is there a call that we would sell? You know, I don't know how crazy I am about selling calls in crude, international crises, so forth. But anyway, if that happened, you know, we'd have to have a stop, of course. But I think we should have a strategy for this as well, you know, and a strategy for gold, perhaps. You know, are we going to buy that dip, or are we just going to wait to see the settlement below? And I think both of them are entirely valid. I honestly do. And this one here, you know, what do we do when we get up in that zone? And we should get up into that zone. in the next 2 to 3 days, I think. Um, Soy meal, I'm covering this now for us. Got the settlement above this channel top. This is the same channel structure that soybeans have just settled above. So they both settled above it. Meal stronger. Now meal's got resistance. They've got a speed line here. Um, and I'm scratching my head as to whether I should just opt for this stuff. Yeah, I think so, actually. I'm looking at this. I'm going to lighten up just between you and I on this because this is around 326 and a half, 326.4. That's on the daily chart. And then the weekly chart, soy meal, completely different set of data. And it's at 325.3 all week. So I'm going to call it mid 320s. So going back to this soy meal, yeah, I'm going to go. This is kind of the target. You know, this is a stopping point. Multi-session perhaps could contain buying into later next week. But ultimately, I think this is very similar to the beans. And beans don't have this speed line right now. This was violated already, and I actually have discontinued even looking at it in the May soybeans because it kind of runs through trade and it didn't make any sense. So I'm hoping it doesn't test this area tomorrow because for subscribers to the bean meal, I want to be able to make the adjustment properly. I don't want them to get aggressively short at the speed line when I'm going to actually reduce its significance on Monday. So um, let me see here. I think we're getting pretty dang close. We talked soybeans, right? Yeah, I did talk soybeans. Yep. Um, Wheat we covered. S&P. I think I'll just finish it with the S&P as a reminder that we are above this formation. So treasuries should weaken. This, if we close tomorrow, the week above this, I think you know we sort of move our way into a put structure on the 10-year, or a call structure here. You're doing both is you might as well just do two 10-year or two S&P if you get my drift, because they're about the same. Well, not entirely. Anyway, Kevin, that's it. 17 minutes, not so long tonight. We'll talk in the morning, I'm sure, and have a nice evening.